Why should you make treats for your pets? In this video, I'll share with you 2 low-gluten recipes of snacks for your pets. Stay in this video.
It's so beautiful, you and me. We're meant to be in the great outdoors, forever free.
Hi, welcome and thank you for coming back to my vegan lifestyle and cooking channel, The Heirloom Fairy Cuisine. The message for today is to make more homemade food for your dog or cat, at least a treat. You bring variety to your pet's diet, you are more sustainable, and you reduce solid waste. Nowadays, there are a lot of pressure on part of the vets to avoid giving homemade food to your pets. And they tell us the message that it is very complicated to do it. But it is not. Feeding and caring for your dog or your cat, it is the same like the way we do with children. We follow proper care and know what foods to avoid and which to use frequently. Let's constantly look for ways to reduce solid waste at home. In this video, I'll share with you 2 recipes to make croquettes and training treats safe for dogs and cats with ingredients from your pantry. Wait until the end of this video for a short recipe to make dessert for your furry ones. Follow me on Instagram to know more about how to take care of the environment. Subscribe to my YouTube channel, The Heirloom Fairy Cuisine. Click the bell to be the first one to receive these recipes and these tips for taking care of the planet. Let's continue with the recipes. The first recipe that we're going to prepare is soy and oatmeal croquettes. I'll leave you the list of the ingredients in the description of this video. The 2 recipes are based on 30% of a legume, in this case soybeans, 30% of a low gluten cereal such as oatmeal, 20% of a source of fat. For this recipe, we will use peanuts, sesame seeds, 1 tablespoon of coconut oil, and chia seeds as a superfood, and a 10% in vegetables such as carrots. Along with 2 spices for this recipe, we will use cinnamon and turmeric. First, I'm going to extract some soy milk from the soybeans, and then I will use 1 cup of the soy that remains after blending and straining, and then I'm going to mix well with the rest of the ingredients. Stay until the end of this video because I will share with you a short recipe to make healthy dessert for your dog with soy milk. If you want, or if you can, grind the sesame seeds and chia seeds before mixing. I have thought of it to make better use of chia seeds nutrients, since when they are ground the nutrients are digested and absorbed better, but Milo's constant pressure led me out of focus. This recipe is safe for dogs and cats, but it is more suitable for dogs since cats do not need vegetables for their diet, and also cats eat very little, so they will love some homemade vegan snacks. Remember that the mission is to find alternatives to reduce solid waste at home. Okay, blend the ingredients, use a blender or food processor until you get homogeneous consistency. From this mixture, I'm going to get some small treats, ideal for training sessions, and I'm going to get some bigger croquettes to give as prizes and snacks to your pet. Put 1 part of the mixture in a piping bag or sturdy plastic bag. Cut a corner of the bag to make a small nozzle, and on a greased or parchment-lined baking sheet, form strips with the mixture. Then make cuts the size of 1/3 of 1/2 inch with a table knife, and you can cut 3 strips at the same time. Wet the knife in between cuts to avoid sticking too much. To prevent the mixture from sticking to your hands and on the work surface, use oat flour. If you don't have oatmeal flour, you can use rice flour, or you can grind some in the blender or use any low gluten flour. Flatten the dough on your work surface so that it is 1/3 of an inch thick approximately. To shape the croquettes, you can use a cookie cutter no larger than 1 inch, or you can cut with a knife into squares or rectangles. Moisten the cookie cut every time you take a cut because this dough is very moist and crumbly due to the high fiber content. Bake the mini treats at 350 degrees Fahrenheit for 25 minutes and the croquettes for 30 minutes. With this time, the mini snacks are very crunchy. And now it's taste testing time by Milo, who has been waiting patiently, and the end result is positive. That evening, Milo didn't want to eat his food, he just wanted me to give him more snacks. The second croquette recipe is with chickpeas and brown rice. The ingredients for this second recipe are also found in the description of this video. This recipe is based on 30% of a legumes such as chickpeas, 30% of gluten-free cereals such as brown rice, 20% of a fat source. For this recipe, we will use sesame seeds, sunflower seeds, 2 tablespoons of olive oil, and flax seeds as a super nutrient, and 10% in vegetables such as green beans. Also, we're going to add spices for this recipe. We will use dry basil and dry parsley. As you may have noticed, we don't use salt in these recipes because dogs and cats need very little salt. So I leave the salt at the amount that their usual food brings. If you consider offering your pet a 100% homemade diet, you should put a little salt because, like humans, they also need a little salt. Blend all the ingredients in a food processor or in your blender until you get a homogeneous consistency. Milo can't wait to try this second recipe. He's been jumping all the time for me to put him again in the chair. This mixture has a higher percentage of moisture than the previous one, so add 3 tablespoons of rye flour or any other low gluten flour such as oatmeal or rice flour. Do the same procedure of transferring a part of the dough to a piping bag, and on a greased baking sheet or cover with wax paper, form strips with the mixture. To get the right size of the training treat, make the cuts of the size you want, ideally 1/3 or 1/2 inch long. To prevent the mixture from sticking to your hands and work surface, use rice flour. If you don't have rice flour, use a little more of rye flour. Flatten dough on work surface to 1/3 inch. Do the same procedure and remove the croquettes with a cookie cutter no larger than 1 inch, or you can make cuts with a knife, forming squares or rectangles. Moisten the mold every time you take a cut because this dough is very moist and crumbly as the previous recipe due to the high fiber content. Bake the mini treats at 350 degrees Fahrenheit for 20 minutes and the croquettes for 25 minutes. I reduced the time in the oven by 5 minutes for this recipe because I also have another 10-year-old dog. It is difficult for him to chew hard food, so these treats are moister and softer for him. And just like Milo, he loved them too. Store in glass jars preferably and well sealed. Go ahead and make these snacks for your pets. They will thank you, and you reduce solid waste. Do it for yourself, for the animals, for future generations, for the planet.
Like a bird on a tree, I'm just sitting here. I got time, it's clear to see. From up here, the world seems small. We can sit together. It's so beautiful, you and me. We're meant to be in the great outdoors.
Thanks for watching this video to the end. Consider subscribing if you're new. Like, comment, and share. Please let me know what recipe you like best, the chickpea recipe or the soybean recipe. And remember, reject, reduce, clean the solid waste you generate in your house. Bye-bye. As promised, here is a very short healthy dessert recipe for your dog. I made yogurt with the soy milk I have left from the treats recipe. Check the recipe to make this vegan yogurt in the link above. I used 1 quart of soy milk, a cup of fresh coconut milk, and 1 capsule of probiotics. Coconut and soy milk are safe for dogs and cats in moderation. Give your pet homemade vegan or lactose-free yogurt to avoid added sugars and other additives. Cut an apple into quarters. Take a quarter and cut it in smaller pieces. In your pet's bowl, add 3 tablespoons of homemade vegan yogurt and the chopped apple. Add just a little bit of natural maple syrup. I got this one from a farm in Michigan with no additives. And then sprinkle some cinnamon. And that's it. You can give this to your pet. Not too often, but every now and then you can give a dessert to your pet.